Thank you everyone for joining us. Welcome to the first of two webinars about the 2023 New American Home. So today we're going to be focusing on the home's interior design that helped to create this haven on the hill. So again, thank you for joining us. We have some great insight and some awesome photos to share with you. Okay, so starting with just a couple of introductions. My name is Lane Deakins. I'm the Associate Editor of Pro Builder, Custom Builder, and Residential Products Online. And I've had the pleasure of working with today's panelist, Michael Gardner, to write the products overview for the New American Home 2023 for Pro Builder's January and February issue, as well as the feature story on the house for Pro Builder's March-April issue. And today I get to serve as your moderator for this discussion. Our guest today is Michael Gardner, AIA and Principal of Luxus Design Build and Studio G Architecture. Michael served as both the builder and architect for this year's home. I would also like to thank the sponsors of this webinar series, the 2023 program's platinum sponsors. We have LG's HVAC division, Signature Kitchen Suite, and LG Studio, and gold sponsors Kohler Energy, and Simpson Strong Tie. So for the next 40 minutes or so, we'll discuss the New American Home's design and execution, including its lot selection, outdoor living spaces, fashionable and functional interior, and a number of specific wow factors. You're encouraged to ask questions as we go using the chat button at the bottom of your screen. I'll be checking the chat as we go along, and I may stop the discussion to answer a question in the moment. But if not, we'll try to get through all of them in the Q&A portion at the end. This webinar is also being recorded and will be posted to probuilder.com/webinars within a few days if you want to view it again or share it with a colleague on social media. Okay, so this year, the New American Home celebrates 39 years of delivering great design, innovative ideas, and the latest product applications. It's built annually in the host city of the International Builders Show, and the program started with a 1,500 square foot house in Houston in 1984 and has since grown in footage and significance. For comparison, this year's exhibition home is a spacious 8,200 square feet. It's produced by NAHB's Leading Suppliers Council in partnership with Pro Builder Magazine and its publisher, SGC Horizon. The program also has a website with additional information about the project, sponsors and their products, videos featuring the project team, and other information as well. Go to tnah.com to check it out after today's webinar. Okay, so moving into it. For this year's house, the project team selected a half-acre lot in the Ascaya luxury community overlooking the Las Vegas Strip. So Michael, maybe you can chime in with some insight into why you chose this location and how you maximize the lot space throughout the building process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think one of the most critical things in any project that you do is site selection. And so understanding the surroundings, the topography, wind, sun orientation are really critical in the site selection, as well as then influencing the design. And for me, Ascaya is one of those kind of really true, to me, it feels like a really true Vegas topography, Vegas rock formations and things like that. And so we feel that when we're doing a project up there, we're really able to submersively design according to the topography, the site conditions, and things like that. And, you know, the easy thing to say is it's got a spectacular view. If anybody had a chance to go to the home, you can see the amazing unobstructed views to the strip, the valley, and I think it's got a really kind of nice oasis feel in a development that has, 300 plus homes.
Yep. All right, we'll take a look at the floor plans for the houses here. Okay, so Michael, can you walk us through the floor plan and talk about the thought process behind the home's layout when you initially drew it up?
Yeah. I would say probably the most interesting and unique features of the home are the axis to which we really start with the site selection, but then generated through the axis of the floor plans. And so what that allowed us to do was on the, I guess you'd call it the southeast side of the property, we had this amazing rock outcropping. And then we had the strip view. And so we created this linear axis, which you can see through the corridor on both the first floor and the second floor levels, with striking vertical pieces of glass that really connect you to the surroundings. And I think when you walk through this home, it's definitely a major point that even though you are in a home, you do feel like you're outside. And there's that just visual connections to all the view corridors that we really paid attention to. Coming in through that front main courtyard, that acts as a beautiful light well that illuminates the office space and the great room. So when you're in the great room kitchen area, you're getting natural light from multiple directions, both high and low. And that's a constant theme throughout the floor plan. And then you come into that amazing great room. You have a 45-foot opening across the back that just gives you that beautiful panorama view of the valley. And then it's layered again. And so one thing we really try to do is create a bunch of visual layers through the floor plan. It's just not a wall that you're looking at. If you turn yourself and you're in the kitchen looking towards a great room fireplace, you're seeing the fireplace, you're looking through the fireplace, and then you're seeing the stairs and the light wells and everything that are behind it. And again, that just kind of is how we do it. And downstairs, we have 2 full dedicated suite bedrooms, an office, and a game room out to the back to the view. And the purpose for that program was to really kind of create that I call it more of a casita feel game room, where you can open up the corner doors and you can entertain to the backyard from there. And then upstairs, you land at this really generous kind of mini loft / oversized hallway. One thing I've found is in a lot of luxury homes, you land on this landing and it just feels very small. And so being able to have a generous landing for gathering, as well as that visual connection to the lower level. And then to the left is the hotel suite, and then to the right is the primary suite, which has its own sitting area and master bedroom. And what I wanted to do is, there's always this dialogue of what governs, right? The view or the TV. And so we wanted to create this own private little sitting area so that we didn't have that kind of quandary for people. And additionally, it allowed us to bring the bed further out towards the view of the strips, therefore opening up the view.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So let's get to the real meat of the Zoom webinar today. So we have, as I mentioned previously, we're going to run through 4 themes. So we have the home's lot and location, which we've already touched on a little bit. It's outdoor living areas, it's thoughtfully designed interiors, and some of Michael's favorite wow factors. So we can move into our first theme of today's webinar. Okay. So to begin, Michael, I know you've already touched on it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about how you design the home to work with its natural surroundings, from that rear view of downtown Las Vegas to the rock outcropping at the front of the house? How did you determine interior design based around the lot?
I think again, I preface everything by site, right? So site really governs design for us, the topography, the natural materials. And so we really try to bring a lot of that feel and fit and finish into the homes, right? In Vegas, where you have these big open doors, you want to be able to open up the back of the house and kind of entertain inside and out. And so you want to have materials that are both able to withstand, our temperature swings. Yesterday it was snowing in Las Vegas to it's going to be 110, 115 here in the middle of June, July, August. So you've got to be able to design and materialize a home to be able to take that in. So then what that does is, because of those visual connections from the inside to the outside, right? That rock formation, the strip view, you're seeing the outside is actually part of the home, part of the inside. So they have to complement each other. And so in general, we actually design outside in when it comes to materiality. And so there's a much more limited selection of exterior materials, especially that are able to work in our environment. And so we take that feel and bring it into the home. So a couple examples of that would be we had the big porcelain pavers out of the back, but we did the concrete on the inside. So we were not able to use the exact same material, but we looked at a color palette, materiality, quality, and tried to join them up the best we can. We had the thermary red oak on the exterior in the courtyard, and then under the covered patio. And to complement that, you started to see the Bang & Olufsen speakers that have kind of that wood texture and things like that. And so same thing with countertops and the color. But I think where, as we've gotten, we've progressed in our design philosophy, starting with the exterior materials has really helped us make that blur or that lack of distinction between quote unquote inside outside living.
Yeah, and I know the pole is another example of creative engineering that caters to the lot. So can you explain the design choice there?
Yeah, so when you one of the big reasons I purchased the lot and was that there was some topography across the back. And so what that meant was you'd go out, and then it actually had a 2-to-1 slope down to the bottom of the fence. And what that did was lower the visual impact of the fence. And if you see a lot of the other lots in Askaya, they have a 5-6 foot tall fence visually right at your eye level. It's when you're sitting down, you're looking at vertical pickets. When you're walking, it's at the horizontal. And so what that allowed us to do was sit the house above that line. But we had to deal with the topography of across the back of the property. And one thing that we always like to do is have that, especially on a piece of property like this, is have the infinity edge, so that water is just spilling right over the edge. Well, what we found out was that to handle how close we had to go to the property line to get this to work, as well as what we wanted to accomplish, which I think is a pretty unique solution. Usually there's just this big trough at the bottom of an infinity edge pool. The water spills over, it gets pumped, pushed back up into the next pool, and it just kind of keeps cycling like this. We kind of flipped that on its head and said, well, what if we actually make the trough a lap pool? And by doing so, we gave function to something that was needed by just making it a little bit larger. We actually didn't have to increase the surface area. So therefore, all we had to do was increase the volume. And by increasing the volume, now we had a 5 foot by 3.5 foot deep lap pool. So instead of it being a 5 foot by 18 inches, well, it doesn't increase our surface area of the pool, thus not really impacting our evaporation. So we've now given purpose. So I think that was really important and kind of a very unique solution to that topography. And part of it too played into the 2-tiered pool level, was allowing us to handle the grade and the topography across the back of the lot.
Great, thank you. Okay, we can move into our next theme. Okay, so outdoor living is really at the forefront of the New American Home 2023. Can you talk a bit about these spaces and about why you decided to allocate so much of the home's square footage to indoor-outdoor living?
Yeah, I think everybody uses outdoor living with the intention that they're actually going to go out there and spend a larger period of time than they actually normally do. Whether it's a climatic reason, time of day reasons, things like that. But what we really use those spaces for is that site connectivity, right? So when you're looking into the courtyard, that's that kind of central node of the home. It's grounding you to the site, and it's giving that visual connection out to the rock formation. Same thing with the great room and kitchen area, where you've got this outdoor kitchen, outdoor dining, outdoor living. It just more so extends the habitable spaces, the inside spaces, to the outside. And one of the challenges, we've been doing this since 2010, is how do you create a really strong connection to the outside when you have these big sliding in pocket doors? And one of the things we really wanted to do was see if there's systems out there that would allow us to create even additional functionality. And in this home, we have on each side of the sliding doors operability. So you're able to go out to the outdoor kitchen. Thus, our thought is that the increased accessibility and increased ease of using, say, the covered patio, that outdoor kitchen, you'll use it a lot more. Thus, it becoming a little bit more of less of a, hey, I got this cool covered patio space, to a place that you actually use.
Yeah, and outdoor living has topped the list of consumer preferences for several years now. But how does this home take that trend to the next level? How do you think it serves as a model for outdoor living in the years ahead? And what are some of its most show-stopping or unique outdoor features, in your opinion?
I think vertical connectivity is important. When you're walking through the home, you're able to entertain on the lower level, go upstairs to the deck up there, that we really treated and designed more so as your evening entertainment spot. But you're still able to go from there down to the outside lower area. So you never feel trapped, and that creates that connectivity of outdoor spaces truly to the home. Where if the only way to get to that upper deck would have been through the house, it would have functionally it wouldn't be as superior as I think what we have done, where you've got that kind of ability to just circulate throughout the home. And I think the other thing too was under that covered patio, we tried not to over furnish it. And part of the reason for that was you don't want to sit in the living room and always look at the back of another couch or at another dining table. And there are other solutions which we actually implemented down towards the pool, where we drop the seating area down to reduce that visual impact. But in that covered patio, I think putting less furniture in there opened up those view cones that you typically wouldn't get. And that, I think, really helped open it. And then I think the last touch was, so often people put the pool right up against their house. And when you're doing that in a location like a sky where you're getting high winds, all you're doing is blowing water right onto the property. So, or onto the house, excuse me. And so what we did is, you'll see a covered patio, about an 8-foot landscape strip there, and then the pool. And so you still have that adjacency of the pool being near the home, but any wind or moisture all gets blown onto the plants, and actually gets filtered out, versus it just blowing onto the house and drying on it. And so little things like that, whether it works or not 100%, I'm not sure. It's the first time we've really tried it, but that's what's great about doing a new American home. You're always trying to push the envelope, trying to develop new ideas for typical problems.
Yeah, and more of a technical question here coming from our Q&A chat. How many
Yep.
gallons of water does this pool hold?
Oh, I knew that question was going to come up. I believe depending on how it's calculated, it's a little bit difficult because of the slope of the bottom. We believe it's about somewhere between 26 and 28,000 gallons.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving into the juicier part of the home's interior design. So from its built-in speakers in the living room to the wet bar in the game room, this house is built to entertain, but it's also meant to be an escape from the fast-paced Las Vegas lifestyle, with quiet and comfortable areas as well. Can you talk about how you designed it to be both fun and functional?
Yeah, I think we talked about this when we were going to do the tour scripts, is that when I look at, and that's partially another reason why I love a sky, right, is you're able to look down on the strip. We live and visually connect to this chaos that kind of ensues in Las Vegas, right? Everybody knows Vegas is this, everybody goes to the party, have a great time, great restaurants, a lot of drinking, a lot of friends, all that kind of stuff. And so there's an energy down there that we feel needs to be left down there. And so when you come home, the idea is that your home's your sanctuary. It's your place to decompress, but you still need and want that strip view connection and whatnot. So a lot of the materiality that we selected really played off of this kind of sanctuary, subdued, understated elegance philosophy, yet knowing that it's Las Vegas, and knowing that people entertain, and knowing that people, if they do entertain, there's catering and things like that. We design the home in such a way that you can have multiple different microscopic or macroscopic catering locations, but also create a level of functionality depending on how you are entertaining. And to kind of play off of that, the game room, it's on its own mechanical system. So if you close the door to the main house, you can turn that unit off, open up those doors, and that can completely function as a space that adds to the pool experience without having to change the climatization of the rest of the house. And we have a lot of those types of features. Same with the master suite upstairs. You close that door, turn off the AC, and you can open up those corner pocket doors, and you have your own dishwasher and coffee and all your own station of water, beverages, and everything there.
Yeah, and how does this design approach suit your target buyer for the house and the market in general?
Well, I think instead of doing bedrooms, we did suites, right? So every bedroom, quote unquote, has an outdoor sitting and living space. It has a generous bathroom with nice oversized showers, single or dual sinks, and larger closet spaces and toilets in their own rooms. And so what that does, or what that was doing, was mimicking more of a nice hotel suite rather than just a bedroom. So our demographic, our buyer, is someone who entertains, has a lot of guests, may or may not have children. I mean, I think this could work for older children, but maybe not, young children, because the bedroom's being separated on that lower level. But we do have that other kind of junior master, junior hotel suite on that second floor.
Great. Okay, moving into one of our more fun themes. So every year the new American home has its fair share of wow factors, and this one is no exception. Michael, as the mastermind behind this house, I'm going to turn this theme over to you. What are some of your favorite spaces or amenities in the home, and what stands out to you?
Well, I think there's a couple of unique features in the home that uh, kind of caught people maybe a little bit off guard. And one of them, I think, was the stairwell, uh, the lighting. So one of the interesting things that when we approached the new American home, we didn't have an elevator in the home, and so we had more of a traditional floating staircase, a little more sculptural, architectural stair. But the only way we could get an elevator to fit in the home was we had to put it in the center of the stair. And I kind of challenged the team to go, hey, what can we come up with to create some interest in a stairwell that's kind of more of your traditional setup? And so we came up with the lighting design of it looks like a bit of an abstract lighting design, but what's really unique about it is when you lay it all flat and you study those angles of those lights, those are actually, and I don't even think I've even said this to you, Lane, is those are actually important dates and times in my life. So that we did sun studies on that wall and then carried it on there and then wrapped it. And so it has deep meaning to me, but also has a really kind of cool visual impact. It creates a little bit of an energy, but doing it with lighting, what's nice is you can turn it on or off, right? It isn't this have to be in your face. So to me, I think that's a really unique setup. The pool, I think the fact that you're kind of getting a resorty type pool and a functional pool in one is really kind of nice and unique. And that's what's really fun about what I think the wow factors are in this house is they were derived from what you might consider design problems, right? You have this stair that you have to solve, and then you have this pool topography you have to solve. And so how do you generate new ideas? And I always tell everybody in my office, I always said every problem is actually potential for a better design solution. And so I think that really played into those two items. And I'd say the last one is I love the shower and the bathtub. I think the view from the tub. My wife keeps going, I can't wait to have a glass of champagne, drop into that tub, right, in the evening and enjoy that view. There's that kind of serenity and very kind of enjoyable feeling inside of a home that, typically, bathtubs don't always have that really dramatic view. And so, yeah, I'd say those are probably my top three.
Yeah, I think also one of my favorites is the sliding glass doors. And touching on that, we have a question in the chat about the
Yep.
size of those glass panels in the main living room.
Okay, so it is a 6-panel sliding system, and you can't quote me exactly, but I believe they're about 6.5 feet to 6'8" in width in each panel, and they are 10 foot tall.
Great, thank you. So now we're going to turn it over to all of you. So of all the wow factors that make this home so exceptional, we want to know which is your favorite. So we'll bring up a poll on the screen, and we'll give you about a minute or so to answer, and then we will see what you have to say. And just so you know, Michael, the response is the requirement going forward for the new American home. It has to be in every single one from here on. That's how it works.
All right, well, there'll be a nice licensing fee.
We have a couple more questions in the chat we can address also while we're waiting for those poll results to come in. So is that privacy glass that's next to the tub? That's one of our questions.
It is not currently. One of the challenges that everybody may or may not know is that the procurement and solidifying of product has been a very, very, I call it traumatic experience for the project. And so there will be a shade that will be coming down for the shower. But
and another question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And it's on its way. It's somewhere. So yeah.
Another question is about the brand that you used for the sliding glass doors and windows in the house.
The company we used is Awake Windows and Doors, and they are out of Chandler, Arizona.
Great. Okay, there we have it. So we have the two-tiered poll as our winner with 57% of our votes, followed by the sliding glass doors with 24% and the illuminated stairway with 19%. Great. Thank you all for tuning in. Okay, so moving on to the next portion of our webinar today. We have a few questions and some time left, so we want to encourage you to ask any of your questions in the chat, and we'll conduct a quick Q&A session before we wrap up today. We have a question from Lori. What product is the marble in the bathroom?
What product? I can tell you we got it from Walker Zanger, and I cannot, it's something, Raven Grease, I think is what it's called. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone here real quick. So just give me a minute, I'll chime back in on that one.
Okay.
Everybody keeps asking me, and I keep getting them confused between the name between the master shower and then the fireplace, so.
It's definitely eye-catching when you walk into the bathroom. That's the first thing.
Yeah, and you know what's really spectacular is that stone is incredibly affordable. Like it isn't a horrific, like you don't have to go spend, that was in the low 20s per square foot. And I think that's what makes some stuff really unique, is it's a product that's really obtainable.
Yeah, well, the follow-up question to that is it marble or is it man-made, the actual material?
It's natural stone. Yeah, so it's a granite.
Great. We had a question early on in the chat. What is the exterior wall construction? It's the outside of the home. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so there's primarily 3 exterior wall constructions. So everything's 2x6 wood framed with wood sheathing on the exterior, and 3.5 to 4 inches of open cell spray foam in the cavities, and then a hi-fi aluminum backed paper on the inside, and then drywall. So that's kind of the consistent component all the way throughout the exterior. And then everywhere that you see stucco or stone, we had 2 inches of Kingspan Cool Therm on the exterior, and then there was the insulated metal panels by Kingspan, which have a metal, 3 inches of foam, and the actual colorized metal system.
Another question we have is the cost per square feet in the house.
To build, to sell?
I guess we'll go with both.
Well, so to build, very deceiving, because obviously we have these product donations and discounts and everything to be part of the showcase of the home. And so what I'm telling everybody right now, if you wanted to replicate it as it is at the high level of energy efficiency, the actual products, you're going to be in Vegas right now with our labor rates somewhere in the $1,000 to $1,050 a square foot to build. To sell, we are going to, it's listed, was taken off, it's going to be back up, listed for $15 million. And as of last night, we have someone apparently that's very interested in the home. So,
does the square footage in the house include only the heating and cooling areas? Does it include the exterior patios? And if it's both, what is the interior square footage and the exterior square footage?
Okay, so the 8,200-ish plus or minus square feet is all of the livable condition space, including storage and mechanical rooms. There is in addition to that, I think it's about 1,600-ish square feet of garage and 2,000 square foot of covered and uncovered patio space.
Great. Okay, I have 2 more questions I'm going to ask, and then we'll move on to wrap up the webinar today. So a question from Chad: were there a number of alternate lots considered for this year's home?
Yeah, we had a couple more. I have a piece of property down on Tobias Lane. Then we have another one that was in Ascaya. The Tobias Lane was actually my first choice. It's down in the valley. There is no view. It's got a very rural feel to it. However, with the changing of our water restrictions in Las Vegas, they outlawed septic systems. And so that actually made that property undevelopable until we're able to find a sewer solution. And the other piece of property we had in Ascaya didn't have a view, and everybody felt that they wanted and it was single story, which was a little bit more in line with what they've done previously in Ascaya. And so by doing a property that had a 2-story, they wanted to kind of show that a sky on that light.
Yeah, and our last question for our Q&A portion is about the manufacturers that you worked with for this year's home. So can you talk about some of the most innovative and creative products that went into it?
This was a very, very interesting year when it came to products, mainly because vendors were in, they were out, the products were available, then they weren't available. And so what I will say is, though, the majority of all of our suppliers understood the challenges and did everything they possibly could to get us the products we need. I mean, we still have vendors that are still shipping us product that was supposed to be in the home, for the show a month ago, right? And let alone it's still not here. So I mean, a lot of our great partners, wood mode cabinetry, allowing us to do a lot of custom things, custom colors, things like that, to really kind of make a more elevated experience was wonderful. I think Euclid with the concrete floor, that seems like that was a huge home run. People love that floor. I have 4 of my clients that we're working on their custom homes right now. All of them want that floor, right? The whole idea of a minimal grout, the fact that it isn't cracking, it's easy to maintain, all of those things have made a huge difference, excuse me. Our partnership with Bang & Olufsen, that we're able to put some pretty spectacular speakers in there, along with Amina out of the UK, where you don't see any speakers in the house, right? Really minimizing the eye clutter really helped, I think, accentuate that sanctuary feel that we were looking for the house.
Yeah, and there were a few others in the chat who mentioned they'd like to see more photography from the house. We do have a slideshow that is up on pearlbuilder.com, and there will be more photography included in the feature story on the house, which will be in our March-April issue. So with that, we'll move on from our Q&A portion. Okay, and before we go, I'd also like to thank the project team and the Leading Suppliers Council. We have the photo of the whole team here. Okay, and just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded and will be posted to our website, where you can view it again or share it with colleagues or on social media. And then before you go, be sure to join us next month for the second New American Home 2023 webinar, where we'll dive into how the house achieved the highest levels of green building certification, energy and water efficiency, and indoor air quality. We want to thank you all for joining us today, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you.